Hi, I'm John Stevenson, and we're going to be looking at the instructions for the tabernacle and the worship that takes place within it in Exodus 24 through 31. Exodus 24:1, Then he said to Moses, this is God speaking, Come up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and you shall worship at a distance. Moses alone, however, shall come near to the Lord, but they shall not come near, nor shall the people come up with him. So there's going to be a separation. Moses is going to be in the very presence of God, and then Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel will also be somewhat closer. Moses wrote down all the words of the Lord. Then he rose early in the morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain with 12 pillars for the 12 tribes of Israel. This idea of setting up pillars, memorial stones, before the Lord. He sent young men of the sons of Israel, and they offered burnt offerings and sacrificed young bulls as peace offerings to the Lord. Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins. The other half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. So it's set there, and then some of the blood is applied to the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read it in the hearing of the people. And they said, All that the Lord has spoken, we will do, and we will be obedient. They are binding themselves through covenant to the law. So Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, Behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord has made with you in accordance with all these words. Now, normally what you would do in a covenant is you'd take an animal, cut it, and have the people pass between it. But there's far too many people, so they are nevertheless identified with the covenant by having the blood sprinkled upon them. Then Moses went up with Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and they saw the God of Israel. Now, I don't know how they did this, because God is unseeable, but they saw a manifestation, and under his feet there appeared to be a pavement of sapphire as clear as the sky itself. This had to be an amazing vision that they see. It reminds us of Revelation chapter 4, verse 6, where John has a vision of the throne of God. And before the throne, there's something like a sea of glass, like crystal. Again, this vision of that which is as clear as the sky. In Revelation chapter 21, verse 21, we read of the street of the city in the picture of New Jerusalem was pure gold, like transparent glass. So there's a common theme that runs through these descriptions of the presence of God. Yet he did not stretch out his hand against the nobles of the sons of Israel, and they saw God, again, in some way, shape, or form, and they ate and they drank, and that reminds us how we come into the presence of God. And we're called to eat and drink and to meet God in the elements, in the bread, in the wine. Not that he literally becomes that, but that spiritually we commune with him. Exodus 24:12, Now the Lord said to Moses, Come up to me on the mountain and remain there, and I will give you the stone tablets. Sometimes we talk about how something is written in stone. Here he's going to give them the stone tablets with the law and the commandment, which God says, I have written for their instruction. And so here again we saw the clearness, but now the stone tablets. And it makes me wonder, normally we think in terms of just regular tablets that we found, and yet we just had a picture of the presence of God seen through that which was clear as crystal. And I wonder what those stone tablets actually look like. Numbers chapter 15, verse 38 is going to tell us, Speak to the sons of Israel and tell them that they shall make for themselves tassels on the corner of their garments throughout their generations, and that they will put on the tassel of each corner a cord of blue. Where does that come from? I think it comes from here. It shall be a tassel for you to look at and remember all the commandments of the Lord. What color are his commands? Blue. So as to do them and not follow after your own heart and your own eyes, which you played the harlot, after which you played the harlot, so that you may remember to do all my commandments and be holy to your God. Look at the sky and think of the commands of God. Well, Exodus 24:13, so Moses arose with Joshua his servant, and Moses went up to the mountain of God. But to the elders he said, wait here for us until we return to you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. Whoever has a legal matter, let him approach them. So Aaron and Hur, they are left as leaders, and Moses is going to go up to the mountain of God. And in the eyes of the sons of Israel, the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like a consuming fire on the mountaintop. And Moses entered the midst of the cloud as he went up to the mountain, and Moses was on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. It looked like the whole mountain was burning, and Moses goes into that place that looks like it's burning, and then he's gone. And a day passes, and a second day, 40 days, 40 nights. And as the instructions are given, these instructions are about the tabernacle. God says, let them construct a sanctuary for me that I may dwell among them. This is going to be a movable sanctuary, according to all that I'm going to show you. As the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all its furniture, so shall you construct it. God's going to give them a very specific pattern. It's going to be built in this way. I can't help but think that the pattern that he shows them, that he shows Moses, is patterned after a heavenly reality. We're actually told that in the book of Hebrews, where this passage is quoted. Now we see the ark. You shall make a mercy seat, the word mercy seat, a kaparet, the covering of pure gold, 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide. You shall make 2 cherubim of gold, make them of hammered work at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. So this looks like perhaps 2 angels. I like the way the artists here have depicted it. By the way, I think the artists probably have depicted it correctly with the poles too. Remember, this is going to represent the throne of God. And just in the same way that you sometimes see bearers of a throne carry a king into a royal presence. Well, likewise, they're going to carry the presence of God. The cherubim shall have their wings spread upward, covering the mercy seat with their wings, facing one another. The faces of the cherubim are to be turned toward the mercy seat. There I will meet you. And from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubim, that's symbolizing the presence of God, which are upon the ark of the testimony, I will speak to you about all that I will give you in commandment for the sons of Israel. Next we go to the table. You shall make a table of acacia wood, 2 cubits long and 1 cubit wide, and 1.5 cubits high. You shall overlay it with pure gold and make a gold border around it. You shall set the bread of the presence. Now, this is a sort of a play on word here. The bread of the presence, the lachem. Lachem is bread, just like Beth Lechem is house of bread. Lachem panaim. Panaim is before your face or before your presence. You shall set the bread of the presence on the table before me, in my presence. Let panai, in my presence at all times. And so this bread, there are to be 12 loaves representing the 12 tribes of Israel that are in his presence, that are before his face. Then you shall make a lampstand of pure gold. The lampstand and its base and its shaft are to be made of hammered work. Notice it has cups, its bulbs, its flowers. This is a stylized tree, a tree of light, a tree of life. And those parts are to be of one piece with it. So a lampstand, now the word for lampstand is a menorah. It carries light, and it's a light carrier, a lampstand. Moreover, you shall make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twisted linen. Lots of 10s in the book of Exodus. Remember, there were 10 plagues, and there were 10 commandments, and now there's 10 curtains over the tabernacle. Of fine twisted linen and blue and purple and scarlet material. You shall make them with cherubim, the work of a skillful workman. It's as if you have all of these layers over the tabernacle. Then you shall make curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. You shall make 11 curtains in all. And so that final one is covered. And you shall make a covering for the tent of ram skin dyed red, and a covering of porpoise skins above. So representing the sea and the air and the land and all life coming together to give honor to the Lord. You shall make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet material and fine twisted linen. It shall be made with cherubim, the work of a skillful workman. You shall hang it on 4 pillars of acacia overlaid with gold, their hooks also being of gold, on 4 sockets of silver. Notice there's a holy place, and inward there's a part that's sectioned off with a veil, a holy of holies. You shall hang up the veil under the clasp, and shall bring in the ark of the testimony there within the veil, and the veil shall serve for you as a partition between the holy place and the Holy of Holies. Now notice the Holy of Holies is in the form of a perfect square. Where else do I see that dimension? I see that dimension in the New Jerusalem, where its height and its width and its length are the same, all the same. It is a perfect cube. It is the place where God is, that innermost place. But remember, in the New Jerusalem, the entire city is the Holy of Holies, is the innermost part of the temple. You shall set the table outside the veil, and the lampstand opposite the table on the side of the tabernacle toward the south, and you shall put the table on the north side. So you have, as you go into the tabernacle, the lampstand is on your left, the table of showbread is on your right. Before you is the veil, and just this side of the veil, sort of so close to it that the idea is connected with the veil, is this other altar, the altar of incense. And so we have the altar outside. The altar outside, you'll make an altar of acacia wood, 5 cubits long, 5 cubits wide. The altar shall be square, and its height shall be 3 cubits. This is the altar for the burnt offerings. You shall make its horns on its 4 corners. Its horns shall be one piece with it. You shall overlay it with bronze. So it had horns on each side. Horns represent strength. The length of the court shall be 100 cubits, and the width 50 throughout, and the height 5 cubits of fine twisted linen, and there are sockets of bronze. So there's a wall, a portable wall around the outside of the compound, separating this place from the rest of the camp. Eventually, the tabernacle is going to be located, not yet, but eventually it will be located within the camp. Now we get to the high priest garments. You shall make holy garments for Aaron, your brother, for glory and for beauty. You shall speak to all the skillful persons whom I have endowed with the spirit of wisdom, that they make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister as priest before me. These are the garments which they will make: a breastpiece and an ephod. Ephod is sort of that outer garment that looks like sort of a vest. An ephod and a robe and a tunic of checkered work, a turban and a sash, and they shall make holy garments for Aaron, your brother, and his sons, that he may minister as priest to me. Aaron shall carry the names of the sons of Israel in the breastpiece of judgment. Notice that breastpiece has 12 precious stones, representing the 12 tribes of Israel. He's going to wear that when he enters the holy place for a memorial before the Lord continually. You shall put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim. Now notice, Urim That comes from the Hebrew word or, light, but it's plural, the urim, and then thummim from tam or tom, integrity or completeness, or I like perfections, but it's plural. So the lights and the perfections. You shall also make a plate of pure gold, and shall engrave on it like the engravings of a seal, holy to the Lord. And you shall fasten it on a blue cord, and it shall be on the turban, and it shall be in the front of the turban. So he has over his forehead, engraved on his forehead, is a name, a mark that says he is holy to the Lord. He is dedicated to the Lord. Now we see the offerings. The offerings are to consecrate the priest. That's on the altar of the bronze altar, the altar of burnt offerings. And there will be daily offerings in the morning, and every evening there will be an offering made upon this altar. On the inside of the tabernacle there's a second altar. Moreover, you shall make an altar as a place for burning incense. And you shall make it of acacia wood. And this altar, it's much smaller. Its length shall be a cubit, its width a cubit, it shall be a square, its height shall be 2 cubits, its horns shall be one piece with it. This is the altar of incense in which the priest is to go in after the morning and evening sacrifices have been made, and he will approach this altar and sprinkle both blood and incense upon the altar. And when you sprinkle incense upon the altar, when you sprinkle that, there will be a pleasing smoke, a pleasing aroma representing the prayers of God's people that ascend upward. On the basis of the sacrifice, the prayers come and smell sweetly before the Lord. You shall overlay it with pure gold, its top and its side, all around, and its horns you shall make a gold molding around for it. You shall put this altar in front of the veil that is near the ark of the testimony, in front of the mercy seat that is over the ark of the testimony, where I will meet with you. This is before the very presence of God, so that he can not only hear the prayers, but he can smell the prayers. You shall also make a laver of bronze with its base of bronze for washing. So there is outside, now notice we go back outside, we did the altars, and this bronze laver is between the altar of the offerings and the tabernacle proper. It is for washing, and you shall put it between the tent of meeting and the altar, and you shall put water in it. And this is for the water of purification. Aaron and his sons shall wash their hands and their feet from it. When they enter the tent of meeting, they shall wash with water so that they will not die. Or when they approach the altar to minister by offering up in smoke the fire sacrifice to the Lord. It is a washing similar to, now think about this, when we approach the Lord, now we only have to do this once because there's only one sacrifice, but we go through a washing, we go through what we call a baptism, a cleansing, and then we approach the Lord. Exodus chapter 31:18. When he had finished speaking with him upon Mount Sinai, he gave Moses the 2 tablets of the testimony, tablets of stone, written by the finger of God. God has established his law, he's established his meeting place, and he provides these for Moses. And Moses is going to come down from the mountain, but there he will find a state of rebellion. But we'll see that next time.